Hello and welcome to another episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Matthew Howard, joined here by our forecaster, Caitlyn Bell. And Caitlyn, will we see precipitation chances going into the weekend?
Yeah, Matthew. So this weekend is actually going to look a lot different than the past few weeks that we've had with some rain and even some possible mixed precipitation.
Yeah, that will be actually quite a change for sure. We've been under some more drought conditions in the area, so it will be quite the relief to see some rain. And now, here is your nature in the news. While there are rain chances in the future, this fall has been historically dry as some places receive little rain in the month of October. Over 20 million people are experiencing severe drought across New York and New Jersey. Severe drought means that there is a high fire risk and that there is an increased loss in crops. New York City has issued its first drought warning in over 2 decades. This is due to dry and unseasonably warm conditions over the past few months. The city reported its driest October on record, with only 1/100 of an inch of precipitation for the city. There have been hundreds of brush fires across New York State as dry conditions have continued to ravage through the month of November. Residents are encouraged to take steps to conserve water by taking shorter showers and cleaning less routinely. It is more likely that they'll see more rain or snow in the future, but it will take multiple significant precipitation events for waters to return back to average levels.
To improve the accuracy of satellite positioning, phone users around the world are allowing the creation of a space weather monitor that will further the understanding of the physics in Earth's upper atmosphere. A solar storm caused the loss of 38 Starlink satellites in February of 2022, when electrical currents in space increased the density of the upper atmosphere, showing how crucial it is to monitor and predict the ionosphere. Millions of phones can be used to map it, but there are challenges such as data needing to be received from the phones and managing low-quality measurements. One solution was easy, as phones move around with their users and receive signals at irregular intervals. The signals bounce off objects, causing the frequency delay to change over time, so phones would need to be calibrated often to obtain an unbiased estimate. The hope is that ionospheric maps can be produced often and published as they are useful to the science community, especially space physicists.
Even though the hurricane season is almost over, its impacts continue throughout the months of November. Tropical Storm Sarah brought devastating impacts across the Caribbean. Its winds were the most impactful, but it brought catastrophic flooding to parts of Honduras and Belize. There were mudslides reported across Honduras as 40 inches of rain fell in some parts of the region. It occurred because the storm moved very slowly across the area, bringing with it a heavy rain for a longer period of time. This storm continued west and made landfall in Belize, bringing heavy rainfall and unsettled weather to that part of the region. There were 7 confirmed deaths from the storm, including in the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Honduras. Even though it officially dropped the name on Monday, it still impacted parts of the Gulf Coast, bringing heavy rain and gusty winds. While hurricane season ends on November 30th, tropical cyclones can sometimes form outside of this date.
We've seen some drier conditions within the last few weeks. However, we will start to see a pattern change coming this weekend. If we take a look at our Friday map, we do have this low pressure system sitting to the east of the region and a occluded front coming off of it. We do have another low pressure system sitting off the map that is associated with our warm and cold fronts. The eastern part of the regions will start to see this wintry mix, especially the higher elevations, but as we go west towards the region, they will see mostly rain, especially in the valleys. And on Friday, temperatures will remain cold. And with this system, we also will get windier conditions Friday into Saturday. And if we move to our Saturday map, some rain is still lingering across most of New England and Pennsylvania. Our low pressure system has moved out and chilly conditions will remain, but the showers again will stay, especially in the eastern parts of the region up through New England. However, once we move through Sunday, conditions look a little different as the rain from the day before is still lingering, but we do see some cloudy conditions across most of the Commonwealth. However, temperatures will be cool thanks to this high pressure system to our south. So once again, for Friday, we have that mix of rain and snow moving through the region with a high of 39. It would be a great time to bring out the winter jackets. And as we move into Friday night, temperatures do get colder. We do see a low of 28 with mostly cloudy skies. And then once we move into Saturday, our temperature is staying in the mid 40s. And that, again, that rain is lingering from Friday into Saturday thanks to that low pressure system. Saturday night, a low of 37 and partly cloudy skies. However, once we get through Friday and Saturday, we can have a little bit of nicer conditions on Sunday. Our temperatures are going back up to the mid 40s with mostly cloudy skies. So once we get past Friday and Saturday, our Sunday is looking just a little bit better. Again, mostly cloudy skies, and Sunday would be a great day to go out and do your activities that you did not get to do Friday and Saturday, unfortunately, because of the rain and snow mix. Up next, we have a feature by Daniel Weaver on La Nina.
As the leaves start to turn and the days go shorter, Pennsylvania is gearing up for a winter that could be influenced by a powerful climate phenomena, La Nina. This recurrent event, rooted in the Pacific Ocean's temperature patterns, is more than just a weather pattern. It has real implications for the season ahead. From extreme warm to snowstorms, La Nina's impact on the winter may be significant.
But essentially, La Nina is the cooling of the equatorial Pacific sea surface temperatures, dropping below a threshold that we use to classify either El Nino or La Nina conditions in that part of the Pacific Ocean.
Sea surface temperatures, the temperatures of the very top layer of the ocean, are measured globally using satellites and buoys. This data allows weather forecasters to track the development of El Niños and La Niñas, helping them to issue seasonal forecasts that extend far beyond the typical 7-day outlook seen on TV or online. Most seasonal forecasts are based on analog forecasting. This method involves comparing current weather conditions with patterns recorded from the past. When it comes to La Nina, forecasters have a wealth of historical data to draw from, allowing them to predict what a typical La Nina winter might look like globally and right here in Pennsylvania. So what do the analogs tell us that winter will look like with the La Nina present?
Just looking back at past La Ninas, precipitation has averaged very, very close to normal, and then snowfall has been more often than not below average, factoring in the past La Nina seasons. So, and I think that's also the if you look at like the outlooks from the Climate Prediction Center, very similar in the tilt and the odds, slightly toward above average temperatures, slightly toward above average precipitation. But also that signal as you go further to the northwest, toward the Great Lakes, that's the most likely area that would see above average precipitation in the La Nina pattern, given the storm track.
La Nina affects weather patterns by changing the trade winds around the equatorial Pacific, which can lead to a more wavy polar jet stream.
We do see more shifts, significant shifts in the jet stream pattern during the cooler months, to where in the warmer months, like you said, you kind of see a more relaxed or general west to east flow. In the cooler season, you get more meridional or north-south dips, troughs or ridges in the jet stream that have obvious impacts on weather systems and where they develop and how strong they can be over the cooler months.
A more wavy jet stream often means stronger storms, but their impact can vary widely. Contrary to what may be expected, a stronger snowstorm might not mean more snowfall.
And a lot of that has to do with a storm track that would be from the Ohio Valley up through the Great Lakes or to the west of Pennsylvania, which we see oftentimes develop in La Nina. So whether or not that pattern develops this winter remains to be seen. But historically, that's a favorite storm track. Not particularly great for snowfall in central PA. But we'll have to see how things evolve this winter.
This particular storm track isn't ideal for Pennsylvania snowfall because we'll end up on the warm sector of the storm, the southeastern side, where temperatures are often too high for snow. The ideal snow-producing track would be to the east of Pennsylvania, placing us in the storm's cold sector. This is where most of the snowfall occurs during a winter storm. So, what are the forecasters saying this year will look like with the La Nina likely to develop? Meteorologists at the Climate Prediction Center, a part of the National Weather Service, are predicting warmer than average temperatures and above average precipitation for Pennsylvania this winter. La Nina is just one piece of the complex puzzle that meteorologists rely on to predict long-term weather patterns. Each factor plays a role, and it's the combination of these elements that creates a clear puzzle for what's ahead. Just like in the puzzle, every piece must fit together to reveal the full forecast. For Weather or Not, I'm student meteorologist Daniel Weaver.
Those wintry conditions that we will see this weekend could carry over into next week, but first, let's get into our weekend recap. So Friday, again, we do have the potential for the rain and snow mix, and our temperatures sitting in the high 30s with our high temperature of 39. But as we go into Friday night, the temperatures do decrease down into the high 20s with our low temperature being 28. And as we move into Saturday, that low pressure system is moving out of the region. However, not quite, as on Saturday, we will see a chance of rain and showers will linger, but our temperatures stay in the mid-40s with the high being 45 and the low of 37. And from Saturday to Sunday, conditions will get just a little bit better, mostly cloudy. Again, those clouds lingering from the low pressure system and the rain 2 days before, with our high of 46 and our low of 34. And as we move into our extended forecast for next week, kind of uncertain, but a wintry mix throughout the week. On Monday, we will see the rain return, but Tuesday and Wednesday, it could hold off. However, we do see those overcast conditions, and Thursday and Friday, again, maybe a wintry mix. And we do see our temperatures throughout the week decreasing. Our average for this time of year sitting in the mid 40s, and our Monday is sitting about just average, but will decrease throughout the week. And again, next week, wintry conditions, which is different from what we've had in the past couple weeks. And Matthew, that reminds me of our Weather Whiz quiz question.
Thank you, Caitlyn. Since State College is possibly seeing some flakes this coming weekend, we are going to ask you, what is the snowiest November on record for State College? Is it A, 9.2 inches, B, 12.3 inches, C, 14.2 inches, or is it D, 15.1 inches? And if you chose D, 15.1 inches, you would be correct. And Caitlyn, this actually happened back in 1995, so quite a bit time ago, and we usually see 1 or 2 snowstorms bring that amount. So very important to stay tuned to National Weather Service alerts.
Right, and especially because this weekend is still uncertain with that wintry mix, especially Friday into Saturday and next week, still a little bit uncertain, but we will start to see some winter weather.
Yes, and there's going to be a big change in the pattern in the region, so there's going to be a lot of changes coming up in the next month or two. Thank you for staying tuned in, and stay tuned for another episode of Whether or Not.